All right, Kevin, let's get to the topic I really want to hit on. I've been itching to get to this as soon as you mentioned it. Our friends over at College Football News have rated Mark Stoops. Let's get this straight. Nobody go nuts as soon as we say this. As the best coach for 2018. Not the best coach in America, period, but as I understand it, the best coaching job for 2018. Seems to make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at when I saw that, I was surprised. But when you look at the numbers, I mean, he's been at Kentucky 6 years. He's either tied or increased his win total every year that he's been here. Now that's going to be tough to do in 2019, but to improve on 10 wins. But I mean, when you sit and just objectively look at it, really who did do a better job? Like I said, maybe you can maybe throw out Monken, the coach at Army. Of course, Swinney, of course, they undefeated, won the national championship, but it's also a group of five-star players across the board. Whereas Kentucky has mainly three stars. You talked about the recruiting. 3 stars with occasional 4 stars thrown in. But yeah, I mean, when you look at it objectively, why not? Why not Stoops? The job that they did, beating Florida for the first time in 31 years. Beating first 10-win season to 41 years. So I have no problem with it.
Now, of course, Kevin, the Mark Rogers TV Voice of College Football official coaches rankings will be coming out here in the next several weeks to a month or so. So we will have our say in this as well. So there is a different context that you can put on this. Who's the best coach in college football? I think anybody in their right mind would basically say Nick Saban for obvious reasons. But there could be an argument made that yes, he is still extremely good, but is Dabo Swinney better right this second? Would you hire Dabo Swinney over Nick Saban? And I could understand that argument. Or is some guy who's at Northwestern, like a Pat Fitzgerald, doing an outstanding job, somebody that doesn't have the resources, the ability to get in the recruits, but is still winning at a high level, a top 15 to 20 in the nation level, is that guy a better coach? Maybe he is. What I find funny is that I'm looking at these rankings, and there's 3 guys in the teens. In particular, you've got Luke Fickell at Cincinnati, who is rated number 17 this year. Last year, he was number 105. Derek Mason of Vanderbilt has risen from number 111 to 16, and Matt Rule has jumped from 129. He was the second worst coach in America a year ago to number 15. So these guys got smart awfully sudden.
Yeah, you're right. Whether it's just getting better players, getting better, but yeah, like I said, I enjoy, and I think you said you have too. I enjoy looking at these kind of rankings. I'm a huge numbers person. I love to, rankings and rating things. So, yeah, I mean, Derek Mason, because let's face it, Vandy is not the easiest place to, it's not the easiest place to coach, and he got them to a bowl game where, of course, they lost to Baylor, but like I said, it's a really fun, really good, really fun discussion. Thing you could probably talk all day about. Who's where and who's and who's. If you look at Stoops, he was ranked 10th last year after the rankings last year, so he didn't move that far up. So. But,
see, I use a little bit more of a balanced approach, that there's no way that you're the worst coach in America one year and you're the 10th best coach in America. And I understand what they're doing here. They're relating it to the season. How well did they coach versus what the expectations were and the talent? But I don't do it that way. I'm just like, if you had a selection process, had a draft, and you were selecting coaches, who would you select today? Meaning, if this was 10 years ago and you were rating Bobby Bowden, even though he was arguably the greatest coach in history to that point, you wouldn't rank Bobby Bowden the best coach in college football. It was near the end of his run. He was maybe the 50th best coach. So I look at it and tend to take everything into consideration to rank them as somebody would draft them. So, for example, Jimbo Fisher being the 25th best coach this year right now and he was the worst coach in college football a year ago. Well, he wasn't the worst coach in college football. That's a bit ridiculous. But again, I understand what they're trying to accomplish here. It's
right. And if you look at like Tom Herman, he was, I think, 116th last year, and he's like 14th or 12th, I think, this year. So like you said, it's just basing it, year to year. And, like I said, like in Fickell's case, I think Cincinnati was like 3-9 or 4-8 last year, and they, went 11-2 this year. So,
the Herman swing, I really can't understand being that large. They lost 6 games last year. They lost 4 this year. They didn't have some monumental rise. They got better. The program is on the uptick, and he's building it, but it wasn't that drastic.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, that, how much are you basing it on? They beating Georgia, how they played at the end of the season in the Big 12 championship, and how they played, against Georgia. I guess maybe that has something, to do with it. But anyway, like I said, it's just, it's just a fun thing to talk about. And, like I said, Kentucky, why not? Like, hey, we got the best coach in the country, according to College Football News. So, there you go.
And Kirby Smart certainly has not been smart recently, dropping from 11 to 46. So, but I think Georgia fans, the reasonable ones at least, are still happy to have him in play because they have one of the very best programs in the country.
Definitely.
All right, Kevin McGuffey from Last Word on College Football, breaking down Kentucky for us. Kevin, we appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks, Mark, for having me on. I always enjoy getting to hang out and talk to you. Really appreciate it.